Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone. Waalaikumsalam. Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome to Shaherald早上好. I just created this for in case we ever want to do a future series together. But mainly welcome to this morning's episode. What we're sharing today is about mooncake baking, how to make a mooncake, and also a bit about the Chinese folklore, the story about behind the mooncake, where it came about, and why is it important for Chinese like us, to celebrate this Mooncake Festival? Why is it an important part of our culture? So that's why we invited today Ustazah Kartinah, Sister Adila Teo, Sister Iman Wong, Sister Fatima, and also especially invited the lady behind the secret recipe, Madam Chang. Okay, so before we go on, I'll just do a quick introduction to the panelists. But we have here also Brother Iskandar from the Netherlands. If you can see in the front here, he will be my main translator for today. Although I'm Chinese, but my Chinese okay only. so we at least have somebody here to help. Thank you, Brother Iskandar, for helping us today.
Just don't talk Malay. I can translate that.
Okay, don't talk Malay. Okay, no problem. Okay. So before we begin, I just give you a brief introduction to all our panelists here. On the top right, we have Ustazah Kartinah. Okay, Ustazah Kartinah, her backstory is basically she's formerly a Buddhist. Okay, and she's an Islamic educator at the Muslim Converts Association of Singapore, also known as Darul Akam. She's also finance director of Spice Village and the chairperson of Hui Hui Cultural Association of Singapore. She's a Singaporean Chinese Muslim who reverted to Islam in 1970. She embraced Islam when she met her husband, the late Brother Haji Jafar Mali, a second-generation Chinese-born Muslim whose ancestors are of the Shanghai descent. So he's all the way from Shanghai. So, okay, before I go on, right, Brother Iskandar, please help us with the translation in Chinese.
好，那我就简单的翻译一下啊。刚才谢兄弟他介绍了傅宝玉老师的背景。傅宝玉老师呢，他是新加坡穆斯林皈依协会 Darul Arkam 的宗教导师。然后呢，他之前是佛教徒，不过他1970年已经认识她丈夫之后，已经皈依伊斯兰教了。
Okay. Thank you very much, Brother Iskandar. Now, next up on the panelists, we have also Sister Adila. Sister Adila Teo. Assalamualaikum, Sister Adila.
Waalaikumsalam.
So formally, Sister Adila is a Christian before, okay, and she's a director assistant of a health supplement company and serves as an honorary secretary of the Hui Hui Cultural Association of Singapore. I'll share with you guys more about what's the Hui Hui Cultural Association of Singapore about in a moment. Okay, she's also a Singaporean Chinese who reverted to Islam in 1984. Before embracing the religion, she was on a journey searching for peace and praying to God daily to show her the right path towards Him. She then met Muslim friends who introduced her to Islam, where she found sincerity and comfort in it and learned more about it. So that's how her backstory of how she embraced Islam. Brother Iskandar.
张云霞姐妹呢，她原本是基督教徒，然后她现在是回归协会名誉秘书，然后她之前呢不是，她现在还是新加坡的华裔啊，然后她是1984年的时候皈依伊斯兰教的，她学习了伊斯兰教呢，让她找到了心灵的安静和安慰。
Thank you, Brother Iskandar. 谢谢你。Okay, so next up on the panelists, I'd like to introduce to you Sister Iman Wong. Sister Iman Wong, she's former Assalamualaikum, Sister Iman. Formerly an atheist, Sister Iman Wong is a Singaporean Chinese Muslim who reverted to Islam in 1978. Currently, she works as an admin staff with a property management company and is a committee member of the Hui Hui Cultural Association of Singapore, living in the Kampong village, among Malays Muslim during the 70s. How Sister Iman was, introduced to Islam was through the kindness and generosity of her neighbors and friends who were Muslims at the time, who gave her family food, every time during their festival. So she felt really touched and curious about Islam after that, and she decided to learn more about it. Eventually, she came to find out more about Islam through Darul Akam, the Muslim Association, Converts Association of Singapore. So, Brother Iskandar.
黄希芬姐妹呢，也是新加坡的华裔，她原本是不信教的，是无神论者。她于1978年的时候归于伊斯兰教。她是新加坡回回文化协会的行政管理。她当时皈依的原因，其中有是因为她身边的穆斯林朋友被身边的穆斯林朋友所感动到了，被他们的善良和慷慨感动到了。For those.
Thank you. 谢谢你, Brother Iskandar. So now, next, we would like to introduce Sister Fatima. Okay, we are specially brought to you, all the way from China. But she's living in Singapore, so it's still okay. But you still got Fatima. It comes Fatima Jin Li Yan comes from Kunming, Yunnan, China. Sister Fatima is a born Muslim. Okay, she's currently a professional housewife living in Singapore. She hopes to encourage everyone to seek, asylum to Islam to get rid of their troubles in this world. Yeah, that's basically her backstory. Okay, Brother Iskandar.
金丽妍姐妹呢是中国云南昆明的穆斯林，不过她现在住在新加坡，她是新加坡的家庭主妇啊，她想鼓励大家就是多多向伊斯兰教就是求那个帮助啊，或者多多理解伊斯兰教，
谢谢你, Brother Iskandar. Finally, the last person we'd like to introduce to you is Madam Chang. Okay, Mrs. Chang is specially invited today, this morning, as a Singaporean Chinese, to share her secret recipe, where she review how to make the traditional lotus and salted egg mooncake. Thank you for joining us, Madam Chang. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Brother Iskandar.
今天我们也特意邀请了张太太来跟我们分享做这个传统荷花咸蛋月饼的秘方。谢谢您今天到来我们这个节目。
谢谢. Okay, finally, before we continue with the program, we'd just like to share with you a bit more about the Hui Hui Cultural Association of Singapore. I'll be sharing my screen in a moment's time, and here we go. Share. Okay, so you can see right now I'm at the website of the Hui Hui Cultural Association. Okay, so Hui Hui Cultural Association of Singapore was formed in the year 2019. 19, what's so long ago? Sorry, was formed in 2019 by a group of passionate local Chinese Muslims in Singapore with a shared goal of representing the interests of Chinese Muslims community living in a multiracial society such as Singapore. My brother Iskandar would like to explain this in Chinese a bit. Would be good. Yeah.
刚才谢兄弟呢就介绍了一下这个回回文化协会，它是不是1929年，是2019年创立在新加坡的一个协会啊。它当时建立的原因呢是为了更好了解就是怎么在一个多种文化的社会里去推广或者去跟大家生活不是推广伊斯兰教还有跟大家生活的一个方案吧，或者说一个探讨，或者说一个exploration sorry 我这个翻译做的不好啊。
没问题
就是去对。
Okay, so but all of us here are you may be curious. We didn't know there are actually Chinese Muslims living in Singapore, or born Chinese Muslim, or even reverted Chinese Muslim. Sometimes, to be honest, right, people see me walking in the supermarket, right? If I walk with my wife and she wears a hijab, people think I'm Malay straight away. I don't know. So, or people, when I speak to Chinese, right, they straight away talk to me in Malay until I speak to them in Chinese. And hey, 你会讲华语啊? You know how to speak Chinese? So, and then I said, yeah, I'm Chinese. I'm born Chinese. My parents are Chinese, so that's how I can speak Chinese, right? So this is a big misconception that we have, thinking that is Islam really a religion where it's only for the Malays? So today, maybe Ustazah Kartinah can share with us a bit on that misconception before we begin. Is this religion, just a Malay religion? Okay, but before Kartinah goes on, maybe Brother Iskandar can explain this, like roughly I say in Chinese first. Yeah.
对，就是谢兄弟刚才说的呢，就是他有时候感觉到啊，这个宗教和种族这个区别有时候没有很清楚，就有时候他去逛街的时候或者买东西的时候，就是马来人会跟他说马来语，然后或者中国人会跟他说马来语，因为他们以为他是穆斯林，所以他毕竟是一个马来西亚的人或者马来人，然后其实呢，他觉得这个是一个问题，所以想问一下这个傅老师，他们这样的想法是对的吗？伊斯兰教是马来人的一个宗教吗？这个就是宗教跟种族是连在一起的吗？还是说宗教跟种族根本是没关系的？
谢谢 Brother Perfect. I think you said it well. Okay. So Ustazah Kartinah, maybe share us a bit like this misconception and maybe a bit like a history about the Chinese who Sahaba, they came all the way to Southeast Asia, like a brief outline of how they happened. Yeah.
对了，在这个是很普遍的一个现象，就是在东南亚一带，尤其是新加坡、马来西亚。当你看到一个华人的时候，你就会觉得他戴了头巾，你就会觉得他是不是嫁给马来人啊，或者是一个男的，好像你刚才这样啊，是因为你的妻子戴的头巾，他就以为你是马来人。这是一个普遍的现象，但是我们要知道的就是，这个伊斯兰这个宗教是全人类的真主安拉所给我们的，就是它是给全人类的，不是给任何一个种族。首先阿拉伯人，然后呢，阿拉伯人过来这个东南亚这边做生意的时候，就传给本地的马来西亚那边的马六甲。还有呢，中国那边也是有很多的那个穆斯林，郑和呢就是由那边呢下来这个马六甲这边，然后呢鼓励那个什么那边的公主啊，嫁给那个马来穆斯林，所以呢这个是一个误解，但是呢。绝对呢，这个宗教呢是给全人类的，不只是马来人。这个马来人的这个印象只是在我们东南亚这一带而已。谢谢。
讲得很好。Okay, 谢谢。Okay, Brother Iskandar, maybe you can say what she said in English.
All right, reverse translate. So what Ustazah said is basically, I'm going to summarize, is that this idea that people who are Muslim, people who wear a hijab, are automatically Malay is very common in Southeast Asia. But actually, when we look at history, we can see that this is absolutely a misconception, because one example that the Ustazah mentioned is that Zheng He, the famous explorer from China, was actually a Hui Muslim, and he actually, I don't think she said that he brought Islam to Southeast Asia, but at least he was a Muslim, and so there is a lot of history about Chinese Muslims. So of course, this Islamic faith is not just for Malay people, which is just an idea that people have in Malaysia, in Southeast Asia, anyways, right? So this religion is for all of humanity.
Perfect. Very well said. All right. So we have come to the main part of the show now. Thank you for all the introductions, and we have given you a brief overview of what we have. So now, before we begin, we just want to share with you more about this Chinese culture, about the Mooncake Festival, the why is it this Mid-Autumn Festival, also known as the Mooncake Festival? Why is it an important part of the Chinese culture? What are the stories behind it? How did it come about? So before we go on, let's have Ustazah Kartinah here up to share more about this story. So Ustazah Kartinah, can you share with us a bit more about, how did this story of the Mooncake Festival come, and why is it an important part of the Chinese culture? She'll say in Chinese. Yeah.
OK， 首先我要代表回文化协会跟各位说 Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh， 向各位道安。今天呢，我们举办这个月饼制作班，主要的目的就是要帮助华族的穆斯林做哈拉的月饼，同时呢，也要让大家知道，庆祝中秋节是完全合法的哈拉，这个跟我们伊斯兰的认主阿基达没有抵触，因为伊斯兰强调，凡是以你做事的举意、动机来决定你的对或者错。
Okay, 谢谢。Brother Iskandar, would you want to translate that in English? Thank you.
So what Ustaza said was, it is basically, it is basically, so I'm going to summarize. So she said at the end, it's basically permissible to celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival because there is absolutely no conflict with the Aqidah of Islam. So, and with everything we do, the most important point is our intention. So, and that's why it's totally permissible to celebrate it.
Perfect. Okay, so Ustazah will continue with her explanation. Yeah. So, continue.
I thought, okay. As a Muslim， 做一个穆斯林啊，我们是一个绝对服从安拉意愿行事的人。古兰经有很多的章节告诉我们要孝敬父母，那么伊斯兰强调孝道的重要，圣人的圣训呢，也教导我们不要断绝亲戚关系。不论对方是穆斯林或者是非穆斯林，我们都要跟他保持联系。所以我们庆祝华人的这个传统季节，为的就是要跟父母尽孝道跟兄弟姐妹保持良好关系，这个是发挥伊斯兰的精神。谢谢。
谢谢。Okay.
So it's very clear from the Islamic faith, if we follow the Sunnah of the Prophet, that we should keep good ties with our parents to be, in Chinese terms, to be filially pious, right? So when we celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival, it's basically a manifestation of our desire or our efforts to keep in good relations with our parents, since we are Chinese, and many of our family members try to celebrate this holiday. So when we celebrate this holiday, we are actually just trying to live according to the Islamic example
of bonding with the family, of being with the family. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, perfect. Well said. Yeah. So, Sister Kartinah.
So 如果你问我 celebrate 这个庆祝这个中秋节会不会犯上 Shirik 就是叛教，除了安拉之外你还相信别的神。那么我要讲的就是 Islam 教我们凡是以你的取意和动机来决定。以前的人在中秋节有一些人不是全部，有一些人会拜月亮，那当然是犯了 Shirik， 犯了叛教的罪啦。但是我们华人穆斯林，我们庆祝中秋节的目的是为了要团结家人，发扬孝道，因为月圆是民族和谐、家庭幸福的象征。那么在中秋节是在那个8月15，8月15是月亮最圆最亮的时候，也是呢 庄稼丰收的季节，所以人们都会利用这一天呢，聚在一起赏月，然后游子归乡，就是那些出外打拼的孩子呢，都会回家去跟父母亲啊、跟妻子啊团圆。那么我们穆斯林学了 Islam 之后，更加应该要按照呢真主所鼓励的，要去体现孝道，去做了月饼，然后回家去跟父母亲、兄弟姐妹一起庆祝赏月，发挥和谐团结的精神。Yes.
Okay, 谢谢。Brother is gonna
So yes. So
wait, before we go to the questions, there's some questions from the panelists, but we will have Brother Iskandar explain what Ustazah just said.
All right. So what Ustazah said was, so people have asked in the past whether celebrating the Mid-Autumn Festival is a form of shirk, because it's like placing equals beside Allah, right? But yes, it is true that in the past that there were people who did worship the moon. Not everybody, but some. And that is not why most Chinese people these days celebrate the festival. Most Chinese people today celebrate the festival because it is a way to gather with the family, to be together with your close ones. And the roundness of the moon, the full moon, actually represents well, I would say the roundness of the family, but that just means the completeness of the family, so the togetherness of the family, right? So on the 15th of the 8th month of the Chinese calendar, the moon is at its most roundest, at its most round. So that's what the symbolism means. And at the same time, the mooncake also symbolizes that. So it's really a celebration of family and not to worship the moon, right?
Perfect. Yeah. So just to add on to that, in Singapore, just a bit of the background story. In Singapore, we just gather around, have tea with the family, and eat the mooncake. Sometimes we go to the park and we just bring a lantern around just to enjoy the festival. It's like a celebration of how you celebrate like National Day, something like that. Like everybody's just celebrating. There's no like, oh, this must be we worship something. We don't take the joystick and look at the moon and pray to it. There's maybe some people who do it, but not Muslims and anyone else. We don't believe in. Most of the Chinese don't do that. Okay, so now there's some questions here. Okay, Sister Adila, yes, you have a question?
Yes. Assalamualaikum， 大家早上好。我想问傅老师，那么嫦娥的故事又有什么根据呢？傅老师，
嫦娥的故事。What's the story behind that？
那是中秋节的一个传说神话来的，那么当然不是真的啦。那是说很久很久以前，天上曾经出现过10个太阳，10个太阳，你想想看，那是很热很热，所以人们的生活呢很苦。那么就有一个叫做后羿的年轻人，自告奋勇的到昆仑山上去，用他那个非常好的那个射箭的技术，射下了9个太阳，剩下最后一个太阳呢，在那里告诉他说，早上起来，黄昏下去，不可以偷懒。于是呢，当时的人们呢，对后羿呢就非常的尊敬和爱戴。那么有很多人去跟他学射箭。后来呢，后羿娶了一个妻子，叫做嫦娥。那么有一天呢，后羿就碰到了王母娘娘。王母娘娘在古代的讲法就是好像一个神来的这样。那么他就打赏呢后羿2颗仙丹，一颗呢是吃了会长生不老，另一颗呢吃了呢会变成神仙。那么后羿不舍得吃，他就把这个仙丹呢交给了嫦娥去保管。那么这件事情呢，让后羿的学生里面有一个叫做冯蒙的知道了。他不是一个好人， 所以当他趁那个后羿不在家的时候呢，他就去逼嫦娥交给他这个仙丹。那么嫦娥知道他这个是一个坏人，所以他不想把仙丹交给他，就情急之下呢吞进了嘴里。吞进了嘴里之后呢，马上呢嫦娥就飞了起来，飞上天去了。哇！后羿回来的时候找不到妻子，也找不到仙丹，他知道糟了，我的妻子变成神仙去了。所以呢，他就一直在看天上，很伤心的在看天上。那么他的嫦娥呢，去到了天上之后呢，他就很想她的丈夫，他就问那个王母娘娘说：“哪里可以看到我的丈夫？”王母娘娘跟他讲说：“最靠近地球的就是月球。”于是呢，嫦娥就去月球那边住。那么后羿看上去的时候，看到月亮里有嫦娥的影子，于是呢，他就呢在地上摆了一个桌子，放满了那个嫦娥最喜欢吃的东西，希望呢嫦娥可以下来跟他团聚。那么这是一个很美的爱情故事，所以后来的人呢，就为了要纪念他们这一段爱情故事呢，也跟着呢在月下呢摆了桌子，放了月饼啊、花生啊、柚子啊，还有喝中国茶赏月，这个是一个传说。
Okay, Brother Iskandar.
All right, I'll give the short version. So basically, what's the relation between the story of Chang'e and the Moon Festival, right? So the Ustaz had just explained what the story, the myth was behind this. So once upon a time, there was a man called Hou Yi, and in that time, during when he lived, there were 10 suns that shone upon the earth, and you can imagine how hard it is to live under 10 suns, right? Because of the heat, and you can never sleep. So the archer Hou Yi, he thought to save humanity by shooting down 9 of those 10 suns. And actually, through his exceptional archery skills, he shot down 9 suns and retained 1 to protect the earth. So for this act, he became a hero, and he was allowed, or he married a very beautiful woman named Chang'e. So one day he met the goddess Wang Mu Nianyao, goddess between brackets, of course, and she gave him the elixir of immortality, right? So if you eat that, you would supposedly not die. But Hou Yi, he loved his wife very much, so he kept it for her. So one day, a jealous man came to know about this elixir, and he tried to steal it for himself to gain eternal life. So when Chang'e discovered this plan, she was like, that ain't happening. So in that instant, she swallowed it. And due to eating too much of it, I guess, she ascended to the moon. She floated, right? And Hou Yi, of course, he was saddened because he couldn't see his wife anymore. So as a token of his, he asked the gods, the spirits, how he could meet her. And the moon, according to the gods, was the closest planet, I guess, to Earth. So he would place a table with Chang'e's favorite food, hoping that she could come back for reunion. So it's actually a romantic love story. Yeah. So to commemorate the love story of Chang'e, the later generations followed this tradition by celebrating the Mooncake Festival. Basically that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, just to add on a bit to what Brother Iskandar said, basically, you can see from this, how can the earth have 10 suns? Suns, 太阳, sun. So how can you have 10 suns? So Chinese, our parents used to tell us myths and stories or legends, so that to get us to understand better why certain traditions are done. Okay, that's how we tell stories, but it doesn't mean that it really happened. So in that sense, can you understand, like, how do you think there's 10 suns and he shoot down 9 suns with an arrow? It's impossible for that to happen. Scientifically, it's not even possible to shoot down a sun with an arrow. Yeah. So therefore, that's just a myth and a legend behind the story. Yeah. But I'm curious also if there should be other stories right behind the mooncake, the festival. But is there any questions from the panelists at the moment here? No. Okay. No. Oh yes. Who? Oh, Sister Iman. Is it okay? Let's go, Sister Iman. Next, Sister Iman.
Assalamualaikum，想问一下，傅老师，为什么穆斯林可以庆祝中秋节？就像我小的时候，我爸爸每次买一盒这个月饼跟那个柚子有关系吗？谢谢。
Oh, okay. What in English? What does that mean, brothers?
Why do Muslims celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival? On top of that, when I was young, my father always buy a box of mooncakes plus a pomelo. Is it related? Can Sister Kartinah help to enlighten us? Thank you.
Oh. Okay.
我想刚才我有解释了，就是 Muslim 庆祝这个中秋节，主要的目的是发扬孝道。根据呢《古兰经》，真主在很多的章节告诉我们要孝敬父母，所以呢《古兰经》第47章23、24节、31章14节、29章第8节，真主说，真主命人要孝敬父母。所以你看，这个是 Islam 强调孝道的重要。所以作为一个华人呢，我们呢根据 Islam 的教导，根据圣人的圣训，要我们呢跟我们的亲人他们非穆斯林吧，要跟他们保持联系，不要断绝联系。所以呢，我们今天才会说要做哈拉的月饼，要去跟他们呢保持良好的关系，跟他们一起庆祝。
Okay. Okay, Brother Iskandar, you catch? Yeah.
Yeah, right. So basically, home is like the core of having harmony in the Chinese community, right? So family reunions, and harmony amongst the neighborhood, community stability, and national unity are kind of like core values, and this is actually not separate from what Islam teaches. And there are many surahs which Ustaz just mentioned. I cannot remember which ones you quoted, but it is clear that Islam also proposes these or teaches these values, right? So when we eat the mooncake, we are upholding these family ties, with these relationships with our brothers and sisters, which is at the same time upholding the spirit of Islam. There is no contradiction, right?
Yeah, perfectly said. Okay, so we come back to another story. I believe there's a few more story. There's one interesting story about also the mooncake, right? Ustazah Kartinah.
Yeah, 有。关于 mooncake 呢，还有另外一个传说，就是当时呢，在中国的那个元朝的时候呢，那么元朝的那个统治对人民呢非常的严厉，那么人们呢受到压迫，他们生活得很辛苦，他们要推翻这个元朝的统治。那么当时就有一个聪明的人叫做刘伯温，他呢建议把那个字条写上那个起义的日期时间，藏在那个月饼里面。那么大家呢，在拿到月饼切开来看到了这个时间呢，大家一起呢起来反抗这个元朝，所以呢，这个造成了元朝呢失败，而让明朝呢取而代之。所以这个是一个也是一个很好的一个故事呢，关于月饼的。
Okay, so Brother Iskandar.
So actually, there is another saying that relates to the eating of the mooncake, right? So during the Yuan dynasty, which was the dynasty of the Mongols, right? There was a lot of oppression, and the people's life was basically very difficult. So when the people decided to overthrow the rule of the Yuan dynasty, a man named Liu Bowen used to hide notes inside the mooncake in order to, announce the date of the uprising secretly. kind of like a fortune cookie, but mooncake size. And this caused the downfall of the Yuan dynasty to be replaced by the Ming dynasty. So Emperor Zhu Yuanzhang, the founding emperor of the Ming dynasty, who is said to be a Muslim, who also wrote the eulogy, by the way, made a lot of mooncakes and rewarded the soldiers with merit, basically.
Yeah. So Emperor Zhu Yuanzhang is a Muslim who put all this secret. Did he put things inside the mooncake? Did she say he put the secret notes in the mooncake, just like the fortune cookie? Was it him? Yeah.
No, Liu Bowen is a different.
Liu Bowen. Liu Bowen. Okay, so he actually gave these mooncakes to commemorate the event and to thank everyone for their efforts. Okay, good. So Sister Fatima, you have a question, is it? Sister Fatima?
Sister Fatima 有问题吗？
没有什么了，我就想说，我们穆斯林，过这个中秋节，就说，因为傅老师也有讲了，就说，是可以的，是合法的。我觉得呢，我们就大家就应该很期待着要怎样做月饼吧，对吧？
Okay.
Should I translate or?
Yeah, translate it. Yeah.
Oh, right. So basically, so because of the explanation why celebrating the Mid-Autumn Festival, why it is permissible and even encouraged in some way, then we should actually all be focusing on how to make the actual mooncakes to celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival, right?
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Oh, well said. Okay. So, Ustazah Kartinah, what other things you have to share about the importance of this mooncake and the culture? Is there more to share with us?
Yeah， 就算是 mooncake 或者是这个是中秋节，首先我要知道就是我们回文化协会主要呢的宗旨，主要就是要帮助那个华族穆斯林啊，在的社群中啊，保留和推广传统文化和习俗，那么去宣扬呢伊斯兰的美德。所以呢，不管是端午节是吃粽子的，中秋节吃月饼，或者是春节我们会捞鱼生，对不对？啊，这些都是一些传统的习俗。我们呢，华人穆斯林呢是可以庆祝，可以参加的，这个是完全没有问题的。Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Brother Iskander.
So the purpose of the Huihui Cultural Association is to preserve and promote traditional culture and customs in the Chinese community, right? And so while propagating the virtues of Islam, of course. So it doesn't matter whether it's the Dragon Boat Festival or the Mid-Autumn Festival, like it's the case now, or the Spring Festival. It is always encourageable to, it is always good to encourage everyone to participate, to unite the ethnic group, and to, extend it to people from all walks of life in our country, or in this case, your country in Singapore, to celebrate together because the values are the same, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So, yes. Is there more, Ustazah?
没有，我们等待着要学做月饼。
Okay. Thank you so much, Ustazah Kartinah, for sharing your knowledge on the story behind all the Mooncake Festival. There's many stories. Actually, she only shared two. One is the story of the Muslim guy, and also another story which is Chang, which is a commonly known one around here. Also, come to understand about why is this not shirik, or what we are doing is basically to bond with the family. The importance of bonding the family is also part of Chinese culture and also part of Islam. So in essence, both are complementary to each other. I think there's a question from an audience, right? Who is it? Or you?
我们刚才有看呀，我们刚才有看到一个相片，有没有？那是在 before COVID 的时候呢，我们庆祝中秋节在巴拉维莫斯。那你看到了哈山，还有看到了我们的部长那个 Osman Maliki， 我们在一起吃月饼，有吗？所以大家放心吧，这个没有学历的问题。
Okay. Yeah. Maybe Brother Iskandar, you want to help with that part of this translation?
Basically,
Yeah.
it was about a photograph, right? So
Yeah.
basically, you see people eating the mooncake and celebrating the Mid-Autumn Festival. There's absolutely no worry about it being shirk or whatsoever. It's totally compatible with Islam, so don't worry, basically.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so now the highlight of today's event is the making of the mooncake, right? How to make a mooncake. So Madam Chang is invited here to share with us her recipe, and I'll be screening the video of the recipe, and she will explain as we play the video of how to make a mooncake. Okay, just one moment, sharing the video right now. Wait, hang on. Sorry. Play. Yeah. So, Madam Chang, what are you using here at the moment?
This is wheat flour, tân
Wheat
面
flour.
粉
Okay.
10 grams,
Mm-hmm.
then Hong Kong flour 90 gram. Hong Kong flour you can call it a 做包的这个
Okay. And what's this golden
golden
color
syrup.
thing?
Actually, it's
Oh.
made of sugar lah. This
Oh,
one
and
is,
what?
peanut oil.
Peanut oil. Okay. And
This
what's
one
that
is
you holding?
alkaline
Alkaline
solution,
water.
or they call it lime 碱水
Okay.
1
So how
gram.
you put 1 teaspoon, tablespoon,
1 gram only.
1 gram. Okay.
So this
Well,
is the wet ingredient you mix it.
Okay, that's interesting.
So the ratio of wet ingredient to the flour is 80% wet ingredient to 100% of the flour. So for the oil and sugar, you can vary a bit as long as it's 80% of the flour.
Wow. By the way, the ingredients are also going to be on the description of the YouTube channel below. You can check it out if you want to make this after watching the video. So what are you doing here, Madam Chang?
You just mix the wet ingredient with the flours.
Wow. Then this you put it.
Then you have to rest the dough for about 2 hours.
And now what's next?
Making, okay, this is the white lotus. I use about 500 grams of white lotus to mix with 50 to 100 grams of melon seeds. You have to toast the melon seed first.
Okay.
You can add more or less of the. Okay, for the lotus, I add a bit of oil to it first to mix with the lotus. Then I add the melon seed. If you are adding salted egg to the lotus, then you can put a bit less melon seeds. If you don't add salted egg, you can add more melon seeds. Other than melon seeds, you can use pumpkin seed, sunflower seed, or whatever you like lah.
Cheese
can
can.
even add nuts. I suppose you can add nuts to the lotus paste.
Okay.
You can add macadamia nuts, walnut, pine nuts, or whatever you like lah.
But it's kind of you can put Holland cheese in there. Apparently, you can try put cheese.
Please no.
I make 2 types of lotus paste. One is for the salted egg, so I put less melon seed. The other
So
one
this is the salted egg one.
Yeah, so this is less melon seeds. If you don't add salted egg, then you can put more melon seeds or more nuts or whatever. For to put the salted egg, you can put 1, 2, or 3, or even 4, up to you. Some people
Oh.
like a lot of salted egg, you put more lah.
Century egg
So
can.
you I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, what are you doing here? The thing looks like
Make
a
into a
snowball.
ball, so after you can wrap, wrap the dough around it.
Oh, that's how you put the egg inside, is it?
Yeah, so you can put 1 egg, 2, 3, or 4. But of course, if you put 4 eggs, 4 salted egg inside, make sure your mold is big enough.
Wow. Okay, so what's this now? Oh, this is for the smaller one. You're making...
The mini mooncake, the smaller.
Oh.
Of course, smaller, you use less lotus seed, lotus paste. So for the salted egg, you also have to cut it into smaller pieces if you want to add the salted egg.
So you can make small mooncake here. This is the size.
Yes, you can make different size. Depends on your mold. You can have a very big mold, or medium mold, or small mold, or whatever.
Wow.
First, you have to test your mold with the dough, because different mold, different sizes. So you are not sure this mold I can put how much, is it? So you just put the dough inside. Let's say 50 grams of dough. Then after that, you divide it lah. If the mold can put 50 grams, that means you have to ratio it up between the dough and the lotus paste.
Oh.
For for people who never make mooncake before, usually you put a thicker dough. That means your skin is thicker lah, easier to make. If you are good at it, then you make the skin thinner. That means you use less dough.
So this is the 2 hours one, right? That's not the first part you did.
Yes. After 2 hours, I mean, you don't have to be exactly 2 hours, plus or minus a bit, you know.
This is what you're supposed to wrap the whole dough with, this, right? The skin of the whole mooncake.
I think I'm testing the dough for the mold. So let's say you buy a mold, you don't know how much to put in, so you have to test it first.
I see. Okay, so now you're going to wrap the dough with the mooncake paste, the lotus. So this is how you flatten it, right?
You roll out the dough, then you wrap the lotus paste inside.
So you're saying something about an expert, a mooncake maker would do this very thinly.
Dough to lotus paste ratio, the expert can do maybe 50%. The thinness is 10%. 10% dough, that means 90% lotus paste. Newcomer, better, you can start with 30% dough, 70% lotus paste. As you improve your skill, then you can put less dough lah.
Is it the taste is going to change or not if there's like lesser dough or more dough?
Of course, people will prefer thinner skin.
So it's like thin, so you can straight. The more you bite the mooncake, it's like you enter the.
Yes, you want more ingredients, is it?
I see, I get it. Wow, looks like expert doers now.
Okay, you have to dust the mold with flour.
And come different shapes.
Yes, so that when you put in the mooncake, it won't stick onto the mold.
Wow. So this is the small mooncake.
Yeah, this is the smaller one.
Oh, this is a square shaped one. Oh, so you also have to dust the dough before
Yes,
you put
always
into the.
always dust the. You can also dust the dough. The mooncake before you put into the mold.
Oh, okay. Wow. So there's the square shaped one. Okay. This is a circle one that you did. Yeah. So how long do you have to put in the oven and what temperature?
190 degrees, 180 to 190 degrees Celsius.
For how long do you put it in the oven?
For about 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
Then you take it out.
Mhm. Do you have to preheat the oven? How long do you preheat the oven?
Before you put into the oven, you have to brush. You have to either brush with a bit of water or you spray with a bit of water before you go into the oven.
Okay. This is the second part after you take out from the oven.
After about 15 minutes, you take out. And
what's that you're mixing? This yellow.
Okay, this is the egg wash. You 1 egg yolk with about the same amount of golden syrup. You mix it, then you brush it on the half-baked mooncake.
Okay.
Then you rest it for about 15 minutes or so before you bake. Before you go in for the second half.
Okay.
The purpose of resting and brushing with water before you go in so that the mooncake won't crack.
I see.
If not, your mooncake may crack.
I see. So this will give you the brown roasted
Yes,
look, right?
This one will give you a nicer looking mooncake. After brushing with the eggs, you put into the oven again for about 15 minutes again. The timing depends on your oven because different oven, even if it's the same temperature, it may varies a bit. So that part you test it out yourself lah.
Okay. So you go back to the oven. How long now do you?
About another 15 minutes or so.
Wow, 15 minutes. Okay. So now this how it look like. Okay, so this one, can you explain what are the shapes and what they?
There are different types of mooncake.
This circle one is what?
It's called Shanghai mooncake with walnut and macadamia nuts. This one is custard mooncake, Hong Kong custard mooncake. So it's not made inside. It's not lotus paste. It's custard.
I see. So you're gonna cut open for us to see. Now let's see what custard mooncake look like. Oh, wow.
For custard mooncake, you also can put salted egg inside.
Okay. Wow. So you're gonna open up one of your already done mooncake to let us see, right?
This is the most common baked mooncake. There's another type. It's called snow skin, pink pea.
Oh, what's the difference?
The pink pea. Okay, all the flours and ingredients are already pre-cooked, so you don't have to bake it. The moment you put into the bowl and knock it out, you can eat because everything is cooked inside. The salted egg, you have to steam it first. All the flour are already cooked flour.
Oh, now the ladies enjoying.
The ladies are enjoying the
tasty mooncake you made.
来，请吃月饼。
Oh, nice. Yeah, good. Thumbs up. Okay, perfect. Thanks so much, Madam Chang. Oh, hang on.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your recipe with
Thank you.
us. And also, I'm actually curious, Ustaza, how come there's non-halal mooncake? Is there such thing a non-halal mooncake? Yeah.
Non-halal mooncake that means 那个
Why
mooncake
is
里
it
面
not?
有放进了猪油啊，或者是有放Madam Mrs. Chang 不是更清楚了？那个没有 halal 的 mooncake 里面多了什么？
For the 五仁 the 5 nuts mooncake, they can put lard. But actually nowadays, I think nobody want to use lard for health reasons, so it should be all halal.
But I thought I heard 我以为我听到你说有放什么 ham
Oh yeah, 金华火腿. So
金华
for
火腿
for halal, so they don't put 金华火腿 啦. You can put chicken bakwa or you can put chicken sausage.
I see.
那个腊肠 chicken 的也可以。
Yeah, nowadays 我们可以买到那个哈拉的腊肠，腊肠啊，腊肠，有哈拉的。
Or you use chicken bakwa 咯。
bakwa瓜也有哈拉的现在，所以没有问题。Chinese Muslim 还是一样可以 enjoy the Mooncake Festival.
Yeah. All right. So I think we've come to the end of the show.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Hope you guys enjoyed the session, learning about Chinese culture, Chinese history, a bit of the story about the mooncake, how it came about, and whether it's halal to celebrate it for you, and where can we find halal mooncake in Singapore? Ustaza, where? Maybe give me some like places
可以买到，我已经在那个他们的 group chat 那边看到是吗？你们有去买吗？我自己没有去买，因为我的都是人家送的。
哦，你可以讲几个吗 ？store 这里 ，so maybe the audience know。
那个 Sister Iman 知道，来
，Sister Iman 啊，Sister Iman know 啊 ，OK，Sister Iman。
Pola, Delhi.
Prima Delhi is it?
Prima Delhi.
Prima Delhi, Pola. Okay.
Swee Heng
Swee Heng
also can.
I do sell mooncake.
Oh, okay. Madam Chang also sell her mooncake. So you all can also order from Madam Chang. You just
我也跟他 order 了。
Okay. Madam Chang, you have maybe how do people buy from you? Where to go? You have an online store?
By word of mouth lah.
By word of mouth. Okay, so you just tell Ustaza here lah, then she will order for you.
你跟我讲你要什么，我跟他讲就可以了。
Yeah. Okay. MashaAllah. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today. So I hope you enjoyed today's sharing. Inshallah, we'll have more, sharing of Chinese culture, Chinese Muslim culture, also what they share, and so that we can enjoy such festivals in the future, even the Dragon Boat one. Yeah. So looking forward to hear more of these stories from Ustazah Kartinah. So thank you so much for everyone. So Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thanks, Brother Iskandar.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for helping us with the translation.
Assalamualaikum.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay.